economy in Unit 2. Up till now, we have talked about the economic systems, and we understood the difference between the centrally planned or a communist or a command and control kind of economy and a capitalist or a free market economy. And we also were able to understand that India basically is a mixed economy, somewhere in the middle. And we talked about the reasons why we can call India a mixed economy. We have understood that there are some characteristics of being centrally planned also. For example, the Planning Commission and the Niti Aayog, while there are some characteristics of a free market economy wherein we have presence of private sector in many industries and the encouragement which is given to the private sector, right? Now today we are going to discuss India as a dualistic economy. Fine. Now what do we mean by a dualistic economy? We need to understand this first. Dualistic economy is an economy in which there is coexistence of modern and traditional sectors. Fine. So both the modern and the ancient or the traditional sectors are present. So you find technologies which are modern also, and in some parts there are technologies which are traditional technologies. So both being used simultaneously in different parts of the economy, different sections of the economy, right? So by modern basically we mean technically advanced, right? While by traditional basically we mean the backward or the technically primitive, technically ancient, the technology which was in use earlier. Fine. So both these are used simultaneously in a particular economy. Then that particular economy is known as dualistic economy, and India basically is a dualistic economy. And to prove that, we are going to take first of all example of the agriculture. Fine. Now have a look at this. We have got two types of agriculture being practiced here in India. One is known as subsistence cultivation and the other one is known as contract farming. Fine. Now please understand, subsistence cultivation is cultivation which is undertaken so that the family can be fed for one's own survival. That is why the word subsistence is used here. In subsistence agriculture, what happens is we use outdated technology, backward technology. The yield is also not much. The productivity is also not much. We do not get too much productivity, and the product that is produced, whatever is produced, the crop that is produced is basically only sufficient for the consumption of the family of the farmer, and hardly anything is left for selling in the market. So this is why this kind of cultivation is known as subsistence cultivation. And have a look at the various characteristics of subsistence cultivation. The use of fertilizers is unscientific, which means that the fertilizers are used, but they are used in a very unscientific manner. For example, when you apply the fertilizer, you should know first of all as to what all nutrients are lacking in the soil. For example, if the soil lacks nitrogen, then it makes sense for you to use urea, which is a fertilizer which supplies nitrogen. But if the soil is already rich in nitrogen and it does not need nitrogen, then if you are applying urea, then in a way it is polluting the environment also, and it's of not great use to you also, because it is not going to give you good returns, because the soil was already fertile nitrogen, but you have again applied urea, which is a nitrogenous fertilizer. So the amount that you will spend will not give you much returns in terms of increasing the yield of the crop. Fine. So this is what we know as unscientific use of fertilizers, right? Then the seeds are used are generally low quality seeds. They are not the seeds which are researched in laboratories. They are the seeds which have been preserved from the last crop. So the last crop was there, 80 to 90% was used for consumption, maybe a little bit was also used to be sold in the market, and then a few seeds were kept as a spare to be used in the next cropping cycle. So the same quality of the seeds are used again and again. Then the irrigation is also rain fed, which means that the irrigation is dependent on the rainfall, and generally in India it is the monsoonal rainfall somewhere around June to September. So if there are no monsoons or the monsoon fail, then naturally it would be difficult for the farmer to irrigate the fields, and the crop will reduce. The crop yield would reduce, right? And the operations are also manual, which means that generally no machines are used. Different types of advanced machines are not used. For example, tractor or tiller or these kind of machines are not used. Fine. And because of all these things, what happens is, as I said earlier, the yields are very low. It is only sufficient for the farmer and his family, and maybe a little bit can be sold in the market. That's all. So the farmers do not have a lot of yields. If you talk about some portions of Uttarakhand, specifically if you talk about the cultivation in agriculture in small villages in different parts of Pithoragarh, you would find that they are basically practicing subsistence cultivation. Hardly they are able to sell in the market anything. They are mostly cultivating for their own consumption. Fine. And they are using low quality seeds, unscientific fertilizer use. If at all they are using some fertilizer, they might not be using any fertilizer at all, or might be using only a particular fertilizer which has been provided by government, without taking into account the soil profile, the soil nutrient profile, as to what all nutrients are present in the soil and what all are not available in the soil, right? So their yield is also low. On the other hand, we have got contract farming here in India also. For example, if you go to states like Maharashtra, many places you find contract farming. Now what happens in a contract farming, please understand. For example, now PepsiCo, supposing you know about PepsiCo, they come up with products like chips, and they also come up with the carbonated beverages. Now if they want to get good quality potatoes, fine, so that they can use it to produce their chips, the potato chips. Now what would they do? They get it grown. They get these potatoes grown by farmers, and they enter into a contract with them. And these farmers, they grow the potatoes on their fields. The seeds are supplied by PepsiCo so that they can have strict quality control over the crop, over the produce. Then the various techniques are also shared by PepsiCo with the farmers, and the farmers have to abide by the directions of PepsiCo. How many seeds to be sown in a particular area, what time to irrigate the fields, what all pesticides to use. So everything is basically mandated by PepsiCo. And why PepsiCo is doing that? So that they can have the best quality. Produce. Fine. And there you will find that the fertilizer use is also appropriate, exactly according to the soil nutrient profile. Only those nutrients which are not available in the soil, they are supplied as fertilizers. Then high yielding variety seeds are used, which yield a lot of crop. So their yield is high, which means the output is high, right? The fields are also irrigated. Many times they have canal network, or maybe they might be using bore well. For example, if you go down to places like Udham Singh Nagar in Uttarakhand also, you would find these kind of irrigated fields wherein they are using bore wells. So bore wells are used to pull out water from the surface of the earth, deep below the surface of the earth, and then used to irrigate fields. And then advanced equipments are also used. For example, they might be using drip irrigation techniques and drip sprinklers so that they can use the water effectively. They might be using tillers, they might be using harvesters. So different kind of advanced technology and equipments are used. And naturally, when all these things are done, the yields are also high. So in India, you find both subsistence cultivation. As I said, in Uttarakhand also, you would find in Uttarakhand hills mostly subsistence cultivation. And if you go down south, it could be something like contract farming or scientific farming. Fine. So there the use of fertilizer is done in a very appropriate fashion. High yielding variety seeds are used, irrigation network is there, and they use advanced equipments, so they are able to get high yields. So both these kind of technologies are prevalent here in India. In the various states across the India also, the same thing is observed. Fine. So this shows how India is a dualistic economy. Now let's talk about industries also, and understand how we have a dualistic economy in industry also, which means we have backward technology existing side by side with the most advanced technologies. So we have got in India cottage industries as well, wherein the small family, the whole family is involved, and they have opened up some kind of a small production facility in their home only, and that is why it is known as a cottage industry. Cottage means kutir udyog, yani kutiya mein hi start kar diya, yani you have started the facility or the production facility where you are living. So that is why they are called cottage industries. And we have got large scale industries also. And cottage industries in India generally used obsolete technology, outdated technology they are using. Most of the operations are manual, which means there is less use of machinery. There is less concern for quality also. They are hardly concerned about the quality. Fine. And if at all they are concerned, they do not have any means of monitoring and assessing the quality or keeping a check on it. The customer orientation is low. They do not think of designing their product according to the requirement of the customer. They do not go for market research to find out what the customer needs, right? Limited R&D expenditure. They also do not spend a lot in research and development. And because they are not able to spend in research and development, it is difficult for them to improve the quality of their product or improve the quality of their processes. Again, they do not go for market research and the customer orientation is low. So naturally, they are also not able to gain a lot of share in the market. So they are not able to reach a wider market. Many a times they do not know how to distribute their products to the market. I hope you are able to understand these terminologies. I am borrowing it from marketing management. So they do not know how to distribute their product to customers far and wide, and because of which they have limited market reach. They are only able to sell near their vicinity, in the vicinity only, around the area where they are located only. And the products are there also very, very crude, which means many a times you do not go for good packaging. And overall the efficiency is also low. Because of all these things, the efficiency is low. Fine. However, let me give you a clarification. I am not trying to say that cottage industries are always going to use backward technology, obsolete technology. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that in India, generally, if you go and look at the cottage industry sector, generally, by and large, you would find that they are using these kind of obsolete technologies. For example, there are ironsmiths in your locality. If you go to your village, also you would find ironsmiths, or for example, you find cobblers. They are still not using any machines. Or maybe for that matter, the person who is selling fruit juice, they are not using very advanced technology, advanced machines. So in that sense, they are still using obsolete technology. Fine. On the other hand, we have got large scale industries, and most of the large scale industries in India, in fact all of them, they are using, if not cutting edge technology, at least advanced technology they are using. They are using modern technology, but the best of them, they are using cutting edge technology. For example, you know about Reliance Petrochemicals. So they use the best of the technology that is available there in the market. You talk about Maruti Suzuki India Limited, best of the technology available in the market, and that is the reason why Maruti Suzuki is the market leader in India. And you talk about Mahindra and Mahindra Ashok Leyland, who have cornered a lot of market share in even American markets. The reason is they have been using the best technology. The level of automation is very high, which means they are using more of machines and less of human labor. Fine. But also the focus on quality is also there. They are very much concerned about the quality. There is a particular department which is known as the quality assurance or quality check or quality monitoring. So they keep on monitoring the quality, because they know that if the quality of the product is not good and the product reaches the customer, ultimately the customer would be dissatisfied and we would not be able to sell again to that customer. So in that sense, we would lose out our market share. So they are very much focused on quality, right? For example, they are using the best of the quality monitoring mechanisms that are available there, right? Now, they also have a very high customer orientation. They find out what the customer needs, they research what the customer requires, and accordingly design their product. So their whole objective is to satisfy the customer, and they go for research and development also. They in fact earmark a particular percentage of their overall expenditure on research and development so that they can continuously improve their product. Let me give an example of the soaps or the detergent soaps which are available there. You find there have been so many advances. Fine. Or let's talk about the toothpaste. So some toothpaste are coming up with new technologies, like they might be having active salt, for example, or they might be having some mint. So they keep on researching and they keep on coming up with better and better products so that the customers keep sticking to their product. Do not switch to some other competitor, or do not switch to some other producer and other manufacturer. Fine. Not only they are catering to Indian markets because of their good quality level, they are catering to global markets. I have taken example of how, for example, Honda's, let's not take Honda example because basically Honda is a Japanese firm, but let's take example of Hero, how they've been selling their products in countries like Indonesia and so many other countries. Fine. Maruti Suzuki have started selling their products in Saudi Arabia. Mahindra and Mahindra, we have already understood and taken this particular example. Not only this, even the defense equipment sector, defense equipment manufacturing, we are able to now export our defense equipments to so many different countries. So we are basically catering to the global market, and we are bringing world-class products which the global markets like and prefer, and that is why we have been able to corner some chunk of the market share, overall global market share. So this is happening with the large scale industries. They are working more efficiently as well. So what I'm trying to tell you is basically that obsolete and backward technology is used in the cases of, generally in the cases of cottage industries, while side by side we also have large scale industries which are using the best of the technologies, and they are able to satisfy the customers across the world. So this again is an example of dualistic economy which India is, wherein side by side both the obsolete technology, the old technology, and the advanced technology exist. So thank you very much for your time.